Hello everyone, welcome to my first video about the Irish language and its place in our society. If you prefer the Irish version, there's a link in the description below. I'm sure there are many of you who'd love to speak in Irish but don't, either because you don't have anyone with whom you can speak in Irish, or because you feel that your level of Irish needs work before you're happy speaking in front of people. In either case, you're not alone. According to a 2018 survey conducted by Conradh na Gaeilge and Kantar, 39% of people in the Republic of Ireland are confident in their ability to understand Irish, and 30% are confident in speaking Irish. On one hand, these numbers are great, showing a widespread interest in speaking and understanding Irish. On the other hand, that also means that only 30 to 40% of the Republic's population is confident in their ability to speak or understand their nation's official first language, despite having studied it in school for up to 14 years in national and secondary school. So, what are we doing wrong? Why don't more Irish people feel confident in their Irish? Why, for example, were only 18 out of over 3,000 conversations observed in a Galway study in Irish? In my opinion, one of the biggest factors is an assumption that I believe is made within the education system, that every student will have a similar baseline level of Irish, lower than their baseline level of English, but higher than that of any other language. The Irish Leaving Cert exam consists of a watered-down version of the English paper, an oral exam where you can prepare everything beforehand, and an oral test where you just need to be able to pick out key words in news reports. In other words, the test attempts to cater to the fact that despite only around 4% of secondary school students living in a Gaeltacht area or attending a Gael Scoil, every student in the country needs to have a good shot at passing this exam. As a result, anyone from a Gaeltacht area or a Gael Scoil can sleepwalk through the Honours Irish Leaving Cert exam, while the rest will either have to put in far more work, learn off enough to pass the test, or just accept a low grade. Anecdotally, I've heard several people either writing off the class completely and using it for something else, or doing their best to try and get out of the class altogether. From this alone, we can see that our education system is not really acknowledging the fact that there is a significant divide in our society around the Irish language. Those of us who live in the Gaeltacht or work through Irish speak Irish fluently and on a daily basis. The rest of us don't, and our confidence in our Irish drops like a stone, because how can you have confidence in something you never test or exercise? A minority of people, who I like to call enthusiasts, will go out of their way to speak Irish, but most people have other priorities. So, how do we bridge this gap? How do we bring up the percentage of people confident in their Irish? How do we give Irish the day-to-day widespread usage that it so desperately needs? I propose that we should start small and regular. We need a safe space in which we can speak Irish. In the old days, before COVID, I would have suggested setting up an expanded version of a coffee break, where you and your colleagues could set aside 10 to 15 minutes in a week, at first anyway, to go for a coffee and use this time to speak Irish together. Due to COVID, we need to rethink this plan. I would suggest scheduling a 15-minute online meeting at a regular time once per week, trying your best to organise a time when there might be fewer conflicts. A free-form chat doesn't work particularly well with WebEx, Zoom, Discord, or any other similar product. These platforms work best when one person at a time is speaking. Let's lean into this and arrange a topic or question beforehand, sending this around with the meeting invite. Each person should take their turn saying something about the topic or question. In this way, each person gets to speak a bit of Irish and listen to a lot of Irish. Another important part of this is a feedback mechanism, so that people feel free to suggest their own ideas and to discuss corrections or suggestions where people may have made mistakes. To me, the best use of this would be where someone uses an English word because they don't know the Irish word. This allows people to expand their vocabulary as well. It's crucial to keep these meetings as open and inviting as possible. If people don't feel comfortable speaking at the first meeting, then have whoever is running the meeting fill the time in some other way. The most important thing is that everyone has the opportunity to speak if they feel comfortable doing so, and that they can also listen to every other speaker and expand their vocabulary and exposure to Irish. I've been directing this largely at people raised in Ireland because we spend so much of our education learning Irish with no result in life after school. But it could also be a great learning opportunity for non-Irish people who are curious about our language. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for watching.